Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me live and, of course, on the replay. Wherever you may be catching this broadcast, let me know you're here so that I can send you some love and, of course, answer any questions that you might have. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cindy Van Arnhem. I am a possibilitarian and I am dedicated to unity consciousness, wealth, and the reclaiming of our personal power. And I really want to share a story today around wealth. And this show, Playful Prosperity, a perfect opportunity to share this story. So those of you who don't know me, who are just learning about me, who've just followed me, I used to work as a virtual assistant years ago. When I first started my business, I started as a virtual assistant and then grew from there, grew into an online business manager, grew into a business coach, and then I started shifting into what I do now. So I am a Mastering the Brain Game certified coach, a Universal Law certified coach, and quantum numerologist. I've got all these certifications, all these labels. None of it matters. But where I began was this place of feeling like I needed to control the exterior world. I needed to control the physical world, which was why being a virtual assistant worked really well for me in the beginning, because I could build websites, I could build systems, I understood how technology worked. And so I was doing all these things in the back ends of people's businesses. A lot of online entrepreneurs, healers, coaches, teachers, change makers, the people that I speak to now. So in that work, first and foremost, discovered that I did not love it and it made me miserable. But I also I learned so much about myself. But as I stepped into these new aspects of who I was, the wealth activation and stepping into universal law and understanding how the quantum field works, I began to release control of the physical world and started understanding how to take advantage of and use the quantum energy that we all have access to. This doesn't make me special in any way, shape, or form. I just simply know how to do it. That's all. Anybody has access to this information. But along the way, I had a series of clients that I would let go of because they weren't in alignment with me. The work that I was doing wasn't feeling good anymore, or there wasn't a jive between me and the client anymore. And so it was just time to let go. And just recently, over the last few months, and you'll see the caption on this show is "Shit is fertilizer for your next stage of growth." I posted this on my feed this morning as well, because sometimes you can get into the shit of the physical world and you can see all of these things that need to happen and you get lost in the minutia of it. And it's very difficult to pull yourself back into the macro and take a look down and observe what's actually happening. So I was working with this client a few months ago. I had been working with her for about 4 or 5 years. I had built many systems in her business. Her and I grew together. And as we were going, we created agreements, none of them that were signed. It was all energetic agreements. I was fine with that. So was she. Well, along the way, all of a sudden, things started to feel hard. And because of the work that I do, because of the understanding that I have around wealth activation and the universal laws and quantum field science, I understood, and you'll hear me say this so many times, first and foremost, there is no fucking mountain, and complication is not the way of the universe. Well, I started to see things were getting complicated. Things were getting hard, and things weren't working the way they used to. And in that, I landed in the shit. Because with this particular client, I was making a lot of money in the physical world. We all were. So I was attached to that physical dollar amount that was coming into my bank account month after month after month. Didn't love the work, was really seeing the complication of things, and starting to feel like things weren't working as well. I could feel the entropy starting to occur. You've heard me talk about this before, entropy versus evolution. Well, I was starting to feel the entropy of that client relationship, but was attached to the money and so didn't want to let go of that relationship. But it came to a point when there were words said in a conversation that we had where I literally could not work with that particular client anymore. It just didn't match my vibrational frequency. And so I had a decision to make, and it landed me right in the shit. So in that decision, I walked away from a 5-year working relationship, which meant that I walked away from quite a bit of money. But we had an agreement that there was a commission that was meant to be paid. And so that was meant to be paid for another 6-8 months. So in that attachment, in that assumption, I continued to go about building what I'm building. No hard feelings toward this client. We just walked away. And I was supporting her and getting her into a new team, helping her work with a new system, and getting that all set up. But when you're in the shit, it's easy to forget the universal laws and how this all works. Because I was looking at all of the complication, I was looking at how things felt hard, I was attached to the physical dollars that were supposed to be arriving in my bank account, and there were obvious discrepancies in the physical world. As I noticed, as she shifted to new teams, I noticed massive inconsistencies and discrepancies in what was occurring in her world, in her business. And yet it was none of my business. But I was attached and I created a mountain. So in that, I had to sit in my own shit, which was fertilizer for my growth to the next stage. And as I began to grow into the next stage, as I stepped back into who I really am and started to feel into, remember what wealth feels like, things started to shift again. Now, this money that was meant to be paid over a series of months based on an agreement that we had was then canceled. I made a decision in that moment to stop chasing money. It wasn't about the physical world. As a wealth activator, I know that. But again, it's easy for us to get caught up. We get caught up in the physical world and we forget, which is why we have all of these shows that we can watch, which is why we have Instagram quotes and all of these reminders for ourselves. It's why there's Post-it notes all over my apartment and my bathroom mirror, because I'm not perfect. I'm a human being, and so are you. And we all forget, which is why we always need to have these visual reminders of, oh yeah, that's who I am. Oh yeah, wealth isn't about the money. Money is a side effect of wealth. Totally different concept here. And so as I made the choice to walk away from $20,000, I stepped into my new stage of growth. And I started to really, truly understand wealth activation on a whole new level. As I walked away from that work, as I walked away from the complication, as I literally blew up the mountain I had created, I opened up a whole new pathway. So the invitation here is to first and foremost, remember what wealth feels like. Wealth isn't hard. Complication is not the way of the universe. And if it feels hard, you're doing it wrong. If you don't understand this, if you don't know how to tap into this, please do not hesitate to reach out. Life is not meant to be hard, ever. Sometimes you find yourself in the shit, and it's likely because you've forgotten or you didn't know. And you can't judge yourself for not knowing, and we can't judge ourselves for forgetting. We are humans. But when you remember, when you have the awareness, that's your opportunity to change it. Awareness is everything. When you are aware that something feels hard, take a step back, come back into the heart, remember who you are. What does what I want feel like? And we create that. So it wasn't about me walking away from $20,000. That doesn't even matter. It's irrelevant. It wasn't about the discrepancies that I was seeing in her business, in the physical and financial world. Wasn't even about that. Doesn't matter. What matters was my ability to feel wealth. And I can do that in a split second. All it takes is closing my eyes, focusing in on the heart, and remembering, what does wealth feel like? Boom, there it is. And then we create from there. We open ourselves up to a new pathway. We create with ease. There is no fucking mountain. And we get to create whatever it is that we desire. I desire a vortex of possibility that is easy, that feels like flow, that is simple, and doesn't require me to focus on any discrepancies, lack of integrity, or complication. So, what do you want? When it comes to your wealth story, don't think about, I should want this because everybody wants this for me, or I should want this because this is what society says I should. What do you really want? Maybe you want a piece of property on some beautiful land where you can play with your children. Elle, I'm talking about you, where you can bring people into an experience. Maybe you want the private jet and the helicopter and the mansion and all the things. Maybe you just want to live off the grid in a cabin in the woods. Whatever it is that you want, you start with, what does it feel like? And you remember day after day after day after day that it's not hard. Sometimes you'll be in the shit, and you remember it's fertilizer for your next stage of growth, and you allow all that shit to soak into your bones so that you can grow. But you don't stay in the shit. Life is not hard. Life is not meant to be complicated. We make it hard because we build mountains, because we're attached to the physical world. Close your eyes and spend more time in your heart. What does it feel like? So I invite you into releasing those attachments in this 9 of Club day and stepping into a new way of feeling your life. And you feel your way through your life. That is the fastest, easiest pathway. It seems so simple that it's ridiculous. And I get clients all the time that fight against it. Trust me, been there, done that. I have fought against it my whole life. But what I do know to be true is that every time I surrender to what my heart wants, I get what I want. Every single fucking time. So let it be easy. I hope you have an incredible, incredible week. I'll see you on Friday for Rebel Report. Have an amazing day. I love you. I believe in you. And I see your power. Bye for now.